Storage for memories, freedom for trades. WEEX mobile browsers. No download, just trading. Weak signal, strong trade. WEEX mobile browsers. No download, just trading.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are live. Hope everyone's doing well today. Welcome to the WEEXLY News Wrap. I'm your host, Crypto Blood. A round of applause. Hope everyone's doing well again. Listen, we have an exciting episode. This is first episode we're doing here on WEEX. I'm very excited. I got a special guest that's going to come up and join us and give us some TA as well. But listen, this has been a crazy week. The volatility is going absolutely bonkers, right? And this is what we live for, right? We want the volatility, whether it is manipulated or not. We just need the volatility. So if we can bring me up to full screen, that'll be great. I'm just very excited to join you guys today. We're going to be having this happen every Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So please come and join us. We're going to have new guests every week, the best of the best, telling us what they're doing in the markets and how they're doing it. Again, today's guest will be Army Piper, a good friend of mine from the Piper Gang Academy. Round of applause to them. Drop us some hats, some alumni hats in the chat room if you're watching. And of course, don't forget to follow me at CryptoBlood_ on Twitter, or X as it's called now, and Bloodalytics CryptoBlood on YouTube. All right. So here's what we got going on today. So today we are going to be taking a look at the market overview. All right, I'll give you my TA on that, and I just got to make sure that I am actually live on my channel. I don't think I am, so let me just make sure I do that really quickly. I think we are live on WEEX right now, but we are not live on my channel, so let me do that really quickly. Make sure we're live over there. Let's go live. Bada boom, bada bing. All right, there we go. So we're going live now. Let's just wait for the Bloodalytics crew to join online as well. There we go. There we go. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. Shout out to JR. We got Hoods Ayo in the house. Dave Brimbolo is in the building. Drop me where you are tuning in from this morning, afternoon, evening, night. It could be, you know, this is a global 24/7 situation, and I love it. Finally, we have a market we can participate in morning, noon, and night. And what better place other than WEEX, my friend? All right, looks like we're all good now. We're all good. All right, so I'm your Army Piper's live on his channel. We're live on WEEX, and we're live on Crypto Blood. All right, so if we can bring the slide back up, I want to just go over today's episode. Again, this is the first episode. We're just, you know, kind of getting a lot of the kinks knocked out. It's going to be great. We got to get us, listen, let me know in the chat room. We got to get us some type of theme song. So if come up with some ideas, let us know what you want, and we'll definitely do that. So let's bring up this slide again if we can. Producers in the back, that would be great. So today we're going to do the market overview right now. Then we'll jump into a little crypto news. And then finally we will have our guest Army Piper come up and join us. And we'll wrap up with the WEEX updates, because we got a couple of them. I think you saw them at the beginning, but We'll go over that again just for those who are late to class today. And finally, we'll have a question and answer. And you guys can ask me and Piper anything, and we'll try to go over it. Of course, not financial advice. We'll just be giving our opinions on everything. So, market overview. Bitcoin and Ethereum performance. Where are we today? We got some critical levels I want to go over today with you guys. I use many of you don't know who I am. I use a very simple technical analysis strategy. Other than I'm a quant trader myself, so I build algos and run those and really, but if I'm looking at the markets just from a general macro perspective, I have very simple ways of looking at these markets and picking levels without having to put pretty much any indicators on your chart. So we'll look at how we do that here in a second. We'll also look at the altcoin trends. I have a great, you guys might know this chart. It is available on TradingView. It's a great chart called the Total 3. And that is what I use as a pulse on the overall broader altcoin market. So we'll definitely take a look at that chart as well today. Okay. And market sentiment, we'll maybe look at some of the fear and greed index reports out there. Listen, fear and greed is great for a pulse check on the markets, but it does not give you bottoms and tops. Never does. Okay. It's a very broad scope or look at the markets. So never look at that fear and greed index and say, okay, this is definitely the bottom, because as you've seen, this last move down in the fear and greed index, we went from, I think, 20 down to 5, at least on, I think, coin market cap. We touched 5. That's the lowest I've ever seen. So if you were buying when we were in the 20s or even in the 15s, you would have gotten slaughtered. So use that as a kind of pulse on maybe starting to load the boat, but it's not your end all be all. You need to use other things, and you need to definitely rely on fundamentals in your strategy. At least that's what I do. So I use TA and fundamentals to come up with some game plan on how we're going to trade these markets, right? All right. So, and in that, we'll look at key resistance and support levels, and that's all I really use. So let me show you my screen really quickly. This is the infamous Crypto Blood chart. I love to put my happy faces, my Bart Simpson faces, I got Elmo somewhere down here. Where's Elmo? Where are you, buddy? There's Elmo. There's Elmo. You guys will get very familiar with who Elmo is on Weekly News Wrap. All right. You'll understand who Elmo is. Don't worry. I'll explain. All right. So look, this is the channel we've been in for quite some time. Okay. And I drew this. I'm calling it Bart. I know I'm not the best painter or drawer, but this is our Bart Simpson pattern that we essentially, I drew it to a T almost. It's off by a little bit, but you get the picture. What you mainly need to pay attention to are the two channels you see here, these orange lines, and this is where we've been consolidating in for quite some time. I mean, if we go back and we can start the channel here on March 12th is when we started this channel. Well, I guess you can actually count the wave at the top as the start of it, because that's the entering of the channel or the creation of the channel, downward channel. But at March 16th is when you can technically say, okay, this channel basically starts to form, right? And we've been wiggling our way down this channel ever since. And again, you have to, and I hear people talk about we're near a bottom in crypto. We're not going any further lower. We can't say that simply because, ladies and gentlemen, we have some geopolitical situations going on that is definitely driving the market sentiment, right? And I believe that we have some manipulation in the markets trying to keep it up as well. So this can be a danger zone for us traders if you are just relying on technicals and not looking at the broader situation. So again, we have here a move up, and we slammed down right here. Got slammed down on the night of the U.S. president's address to our country, right, in the United States, about this war. So he came out, and the markets were very disappointed. Very disappointed in what he had to say or didn't say, and that initiated the rollover back into the channel, and we dipped below yesterday, if you guys remember, and I did this during my stream. We dipped very closely to these V's. I told you at the beginning, I use a simple way of looking at markets. A's and V's, ladies and gentlemen. A's and V's. That's all I do. I draw my V's, I draw my V's, and I draw my A's. And that helps you get some type of situational awareness in the markets. And what happened here is we barely touched the previous V. Okay, so that was an area of support for us, but guess what? The area of resistance is still going to be that line here that's putting us at $67,000 Bitcoin, and we've been taking wick and stabs at trying to break it, but we haven't been able to yet. You need to, as a market, as a trader in these crypto markets, you still need to pay attention to what's going on in your TradFi markets as well. So you definitely want to always check, see what's going on in the NASDAQ, S&P, Dow Jones, and what you really want to pay attention to, honestly, the correlation is most significant with the NASDAQ. So NASDAQ today is up 0.18%. Was crazy manipulation yesterday in the markets. We were coming into the opening in yesterday's U.S. zone, down almost 1.5%. By the end of the day, we were up 0.2% or 0.1%. An amazing comeback out of nowhere. No real reason for it other than the plunge protection team. That's my theory. We got Brent crude still hovering at 109. When we get Army Piper in here, we're going to talk to him about crude oil, Brent, because this is a forward. I believe this is a forward contract. This is for June of 26. Okay. Ironically enough, I don't know if you guys, how many of you know about futures and trading. This is what I used to do, as I had the Series 3 and traded commodities and futures. Ironically enough, our dated futures or dated crude oil price, Brent crude, is at 144. It might be even higher than that now. So we have what's called backwardation going on, where the current price is higher than the futures price. Should not normally be that way. That means there's a lot of issues going on, right? A lot of issues going on with these markets. So backwardation occurred. We didn't have anything significant happen for us to stay this low in yesterday's trading session, right? So that's that. Just wanted to let you guys know about what's going on there. Today in the U.S. is an abbreviated or closed session. It is Good Friday, so you don't have really too much market action going on today. But I'm just talking about from at least yesterday, we were in backwardation big time, and we shouldn't be. That's something that should not be the case. Now, I want to show you guys one other slide. Okay, and this slide here, or chart, is my pulse on the altcoins. So the altcoins, this is the total 3. Check it out on TradingView. If you have TradingView, check it out on TradingView. The total 3. This is the market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. I love this one because this gives you a pure play on altcoins. And actually, to me, gives you a pure play on the directional trend in crypto in general. Even though Bitcoin, has the biggest single market cap and Ethereum is right behind it, you still got a whole 4,000. I don't know how many altcoins there are now. There are too many, right? but this gives you a better pulse on what's going on. I told my guys on Wednesday of last week, or Wednesday of this week, or yeah, Wednesday of last week, I told you guys to watch this cross. We crossed over the Bloodlytics line. I have mapped on top of this total market cap, and this helps me get a very good indication on the trend, right? So the trend cross downward on the bloodline happened on last Wednesday, and I gave you guys an alert and a heads up. Go follow me over there on YouTube, CryptoBlood/Bloodlytics. I gave you this. And since we crossed this, we've been heading lower ever since. Absolutely been getting slaughtered. But what's interesting here is that you'll see these two red lines. These two red lines is a channel that we've been in for over 50 days with the altcoins. We dipped below it a little bit here, but for the most part, we actually punched above it here. But for the most part, we've been, if I zoom out, you'll see, we've been in this channel all the way going back to February 4th. So for a decent amount of time, we've been in this channel. Yesterday, we dipped below it. However, bulls were able to bring us back above and into this play where we're basically at the bottom range of the channel, but still inside the channel. So that's giving some saving grace to us bulls. And I can zoom in a little bit really quickly and show you guys what's going on here. We've got a current total market cap, excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum, sitting just shy of $700 billion. Again, the dip below occurred, and we managed to get ourselves back above. Now, we're still not out of the clear because the bloodline is still above price or market cap, okay? And we would have to clear 106, 107, 707 billion market cap. We will have to clear that to get some type of bullish sentiment overall in the market. So that's what we are looking for. And now every week we'll watch this chart because it's a very telling chart on what is going on from a very broad perspective in crypto. Now, if let's go ahead and talk about some crypto news today. Let's talk about some crypto news. So we can bring up the slides for today. We have some top headlines, and this is big news. The regulation one is the major one. I want to talk to Army Piper about because I know he's been covering that on his channel as well. But for some of the major headlines, we got MasterCard's $1.8 billion acquisition of BVNK, and this is a stablecoin company. They're entering the main stage, and I gave a projection or prediction years ago. This may have been, I think, 2000. This may have been like 2019. I said all stable coins at one point in the near future are going to be a bigger market cap industry than Bitcoin and Ethereum and all these altcoins, because this is the direction that you know the powers that be want to go. They want to really make crypto just stable coins. The Clarity Act, we'll talk about that. You know, there's a lot of battling going back and forth about what is the role of stable coins in this industry. Should end users obtain some yield from stable coins? That's the major fight right now. And you know, we all know we should be definitely that yield should be passed on to us. But they're trying very hard not to do that. They meaning the banks. The banks would love for the situation to be where the yield doesn't get passed through to you as a stablecoin holder. So more than just a buyout, this situation here with MasterCard, it's a TradFi building upon itself, an on-chain settlement layer. It is the end of stablecoins as a crypto experiment, and the start of them as a global financial plumbing situation and infrastructure. And I agree. I think stable coins are going to definitely is a double-edged sword. It's a gift and a curse. Definitely a gift and a curse, but it will allow more liquidity to on ramp into crypto at some point. But the curse of it all is, are they going to give us the yield that we deserve, especially in the US? Regulatory frameworks in other countries are going to be different, but here in the US, we definitely want that yield. And some may have an issue with surveillance, right? Them being able to stop your coins and so on and so forth. So that's a whole nother conversation. The other thing in crypto news this week, again, the Clarity Act. I want to definitely talk to Army Piper about this, but the Clarity Act and the commodity green light for altcoins. So with the SEC, FTC classifying SOL and XRP as digital commodities, the Wall Street gate is officially open. And are we looking at a temporary alt season or at the beginning of an institutional alt decade? So this is great. I like to see that the CFTC is pretty much going to have purview over altcoins or crypto. I'm really loving that. I didn't want to go the SEC route, which would have been in the United States. Cryptos looked at more so as like a stock or an equity. That would have been the wrong move. So to me, long term, this is a great move for crypto. This is a positive play for crypto. And I think we are going to see many benefits from the CFTC actually having purview over these cryptos, because then that opens it up for like gaming, GameFi, of course TradFi, but specifically things like on the GameFi side, right? That being that cryptos will be looked at as a commodity will make it an easier on-ramp for the GameFi industry to blossom here in the United States. Because if they would have gone the route of securities with the SEC, it would have been a nightmare. And I think the hurdle for integrating cryptos into gaming on the blockchain would have been much harder. So without further ado, let's go ahead and talk about our guest for today. We got our guy Army Piper coming in with us today. He's going to be dropping in some knowledge on key levels, and I want to talk to you, Piper, especially about this stablecoin situation, the Clarity Act, and get your opinion on all of that. So without further ado, let's bring up Army Piper.
What's up, dude? How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Just sitting here enjoying the background, listening to you, listening to here, talking to the people in the audience. Shout out to everybody that's watching right now. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we absolutely appreciate you.
Man.
Hit that like button, and let's get those shares up. All right. So Clarity Act. I want to go first before we
numbers
talk
up.
about
Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
before we talk about the Clarity Act, market outlook, man. So you heard my analysis on where we are in the markets. Kind of give the audience your take on what's going on in crypto today.
I think we're at the beginning of the show. But really, like, I've been calling for October 2026 as being the timeline, but I'm seeing TA that supports it also. It's not just time based, it's historical pattern based also. If you want to pull up my chart, I've got it shared, and I'll just show you something that I've been keeping an eye on, and it's a couple of different things. One is our typical newple that we normally hit, and I don't know why I'm so glitchy today. I'm coming at you from the future, man. I'm max headrooming today, but yeah, I'm here. One thing that I've been watching is on the chart. Got it shared?
Nope. Let's get Piper's chart shared, guys, if we can. We'll get that up in a second. Did you present your screen, Piper?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, so they should see that your screen is down there, and they can add you on there if possible.
Yeah, I did it a while ago. See if they're saying anything here. There it goes. There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful.
There we go. Round of applause.
Beautiful.
There we go.
Beautiful.
Juicy.
All right, let's take a look here at what I've been watching on Bitcoin. One has to do with the Gaussian channel. And if we take a look at the Gaussian channel, yeah, we just, if we go back and look at bear markets, guys, every single bear market here, we've come in and we've hit this window of the red Gaussian channel. If you look at where, and I've measured it off, and I know it's sitting off to the side here, as far as, you know, where I've got the arrow at, but it's measured even with where price was at the time that it turned red, right? And you measure down to how far we went. 53.49%, okay? 50.7%, 48.35%. That's what happens. And it's not like price just automatically just rockets back up and this thing just turns. Like, there's a flow to the Gaussian channel, right? Never in history, even when price has just taken off to the upside, does this thing just turn upwards. There's a flow to it, right? So even if we look at where we are right now with this being just now turning red, about a month now, 3 weeks to a month, I guess it's 3 weeks total we have in here right now. And we measure this off even at the average of all three of these. We're looking at a price range here of like $37,000. And it's a time period of, let's see here, the time period here of it being in this window, 427 days of red. Okay. Here we go. Of getting into the red even. Here we go. 273 days, 406 days. Guys, from the time that we break into a red cycle and then we get out of it, it's a long time. So, it's not a very quick turnaround on this thing. So I think we're at the beginning of the end, but I still think we have some more pain coming. So I've done a couple of things, and I want to show the Nupal, and we'll talk about Nupal here. Let's bring that up. Let's talk about the Nupal here and where we are in typical cycles when we bottom out. Okay. And I'm going to go here and turn off the Nupal tops. Nope, stop that. Let's turn off Nupal tops. We don't need to talk about the top right now. We've missed the top. If you didn't get out of the top, you missed the top.
Sounds similar to
looking
something
at the
else.
Nupal. What's that?
Nupal sounds similar to something else, Army Piper.
Yes, the Nupal. I love this guy. Love this guy. All right, let's take a look here. Look at the bottom windows here on the Nupal. Okay, and what you can see here is this is it's under profit and loss. This is profit and loss. This is the amount of the tokens that are under loss, right? And we can see here it breaks below this threshold when we are in our bottom ranges. I mean, look, it's all in green, well below it, right? This is our bottom. This was our bottom window in each cycle. Okay, even in our initial cycle, we had this. We saw the same thing. Breaks below. This was our bottom cycle. 2022, very small, FTX pullback here, very small window. But yeah, overall, it still hit it. I want you to take a look here, Blood. I want you to take a look at where we are on getting to that line. We're not even close to it yet.
Not even.
Now, keep in mind, we could have a shallow bear market. And I do think that is a possibility because we had a shallow run up, right? We didn't have the parabolic blow off that we typically have at all this cycle. But when we look at
Piper, we weren't in World War III either, my friend.
And we were not in an economic growth because historically, what have we had? Economic growth. We've never had a economic contraction really in a bull run, right? We've never been at that point, right? So one thing that I want to show here and point out is this. Let me turn off all these horizontal lines. I need market tops on. And this is a pretty interesting chart. A lot of my crew over at the Piper Academy, they've all seen this. We've talked about this many times here. But for the weekly here, the weeks people, the WEEXLY report, this is trend-based fibs pulled from cycle lows to cycle highs to cycle lows. Okay. So when you take a look here, this cycle, this first golden pocket here is pulled from your bottom to your top to your bottom. And I know you saw that the line was all the way over here, but it's even with the bottom, right? So that we can get this pulled over. It's for presentation purposes, but it is the bottoms to tops to bottoms, I promise you. And if you take a look at every single cycle, trend-based fibs have given us golden pockets on logarithmic for the next cycle top. We've had one outlier where we broke slightly above it. That's it. Every single one. Where did we hit this time? Where did we hit this time, Blood? The same place we always hit. The same place we always hit. So was it really did we really not hit our norm in a cycle run up? I don't think so.
Did.
I mean, it wasn't parabolic, it wasn't euphoric. But it was still the same target we always hit. So yeah. And when we hit the swing fell pattern here, when we had this swing fell pattern right here on October 6th, and did a little thing, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and sell my Bitcoin. And I did. So January 2025 is where I sold all of my alts into Bitcoin, and I sold all of my Bitcoin on October 6th before the dump. So I'm doing quite well for the bottom. I'm positioned, and I want to talk about that before we.
Yeah, you and I both, Piper. We've been getting a lot of flack.
A lot.
You know, I'm about 78% cash. I have been for a while. I just actively trade on Weeks. But my hodl bag is I'm 80%, 78% cash, man, and
I'm 80% cash right now.
Yeah,
I've been dollar cost averaging weekly, buying more as we go down in wristbands, right?
I haven't bought a darn thing.
Oh no, I've been buying. My average price right now is actually not bad. My average price right now, because as we go bit lower, as we go down in price, I buy with more money.
Right.
So I with more cash at a cheaper price. So not only am I buying more tokens because it's cheaper, but I'm also buying with more cash. So I'm buying exponentially more tokens as we go down. So my average price right now is 74,800. I'm not too far off from my average price. So when we do get to the bottom,
my average exit price was $76,500 Bitcoin. This is when I started exiting in my Bitcoin position and my altcoin. So whatever that price was over abroad, you know, but the difference between you and I ended up getting out, and this is a lesson for everyone to take, because you can't time the markets. You just have to have conviction in the markets. So I got out at $78,000 Bitcoin, Piper, on our way up to 1.6. What did we hit? 120? 126 was the top?
126. 126,
so
217.
I was very early. However, my theory was, hey, look, how much higher are we going to go? I'm willing to miss a doubling if possible. That was my conviction. I was willing to miss a doubling from that point, because I knew that if you don't have an exit strategy, you don't have you can have an entry strategy, Piper, but if you don't have an exit strategy, you don't have a strategy at all. You're just going to hodl until you're going to round trip the whole situation.
Think about this. Everyone that sold in 2021 at the top when the price cycle top hit in April 2021, okay? They got messed with when we rebounded in the summer and we came back up on this massive rally to November, right? Everyone's like, you sold in April, blah, blah, blah. That was a 6% pump they missed. They missed a 6% pump and protected their capital on that entire 50% retracement. You know who holds their money on a 50% retracement with no guarantee of it coming back? I'll just tell you this. That's why we get called dumb money in crypto. Because smart money protects their capital. That's how you make more money. You got to have capital. That's all I'm going to say about that. So yeah, ever, no one's ever gone broke taking profit, guys. Ever.
You never go broke taking profits. Listen, amen to that.
Go broke taking profit.
We're having church on Good Friday. All right. Amen,
having church on Good Friday. So the other thing that I wanted to show here, besides the Newport, was this. So we talked about that range on this 37.8, right? Some other things that I wanted to pull here, and I pulled some trend-based fibs, right? Pulled from cycles. And we talked about that golden pocket, right, of this cycle, which is where we rejected. Let me get that on there. Okay. There's the golden pocket from low to high to low of last cycle's bear cycle to top to this cycle, right? A previous cycle, I should say. This is 2018 to 2021 to 2022. There's our golden pocket. But I've added the full fib session on here, okay? And so here's where it gets interesting. And I am sorry I'm glitching all over the place. It's so weird. I'm like max headroom crazy over here. Anyway, the thing that I find interesting here is this. And I'm going to get rid of these brush marks. There we go. If we look at this previous cycle and we look at what we're doing right now, we're rejecting off of the 50%, okay? And if this is old. This is very old fibs from a previous cycle, still in play on sequencing. When we come up on a 50% fib and reject off of it, that's typically bearish. We're going down to the next level. That's just how that works, right? And you can see here in March 2024, down to August 2024, played perfectly on the 50 and the 382. The sequencing is playing out on a whole previous cycle's fibs. Just like when we look at this current cycle's fibs, we can see golden pocket came down, Gaussian channel up, almost got front ran off the 786. And now in the past couple of months here, we had a bounce on the 618, a rejection on the 0.66, which is again level, not really a fib level. I like to use 0.66 because everyone front runs the 0.65. You can also see on this current cycle, once we broke out of the bottom here, we came back and tested perfectly the 382, right? Lots of sequencing exactly on these fib lines from the current cycle and the last cycle. So I said, okay, if we look at that level that we're talking about on this 37,000, that's down in the range of where these fibs are also falling, right? So let's go ahead and let's see what else is coming down into this level on the fibs. And we got the previous ones in here. Okay, well, there's that 382 coming in there. We know that level. That's from this cycle. That's this cycle's fibs. Okay. That would be a great level. That's coming in at 50,400. Best case scenario. That would be best case. Worst case scenario, though, I think we're looking at the 236 down at $32,000. And why do I think that that's a case? Why do I think that's a possibility? Well, because when we line this up with current fibs, we also have our 50% down there. That would be the likely spot to bounce off of if we lose our golden pocket. Because when we lose a golden pocket, where do we head? To the 50. And one last piece of data to follow on to that is it's also a value area high if we pull the fixed range volume profile going back to 2018 to current too. So it just a lot of confluence at that $34,000 range, on top of it being in the ballpark of our Gaussian channel target here, for how far we typically fall out of a Gaussian channel once it turns red. So a lot of confluence on the macro here for the Bitcoin chart that I've been watching, especially when you look at, the fibs and our historical data and trend-based fibs. But I know, hey, Patricio, Max Headroom, for those that don't know, Coca-Cola commercials back in the 80s. Look it up on YouTube. Some other stuff that I did some data polls on recently. I did read an article here from CNBC Pro about 1 year of the taco trade. It's starting to depreciate. Real quick on this, started out 9.52% return, and it has slowly drawn down to now it's a negative. By the way, in here in this nice little article, it did talk about that this weekend being a long weekend could be the weekend that we maybe see some boots on ground. And we have some, boots on ground threat here.
That's a boots on the ground is a bearish signal, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a very bearish signal right here.
It's a bearish signal.
With uncertainty, long weekend, holiday weekend, during which hostilities could escalate, U.S. could put boots on ground in the Middle East. I have some reasons for that that actually are starting to support that. Has to do with an event going on right now. We had an F-15 Echo that went down. It's an aircraft. Got an operator and pilot in the aircraft, so two pilots are in that. We do have a picture of the actual seat, which does go. It's a Douglas Aces seat. This is the seat for that type of aircraft. So we do know that this went down. Keep in mind, a lot of aircraft go down. Fallen angels is what we call it in the personnel recovery world, which I've done in Iraq and Syria, in the military, 2015 to 2016. And so that's called a fallen angel. A lot of times it's because of aircraft malfunction. Of course, Iran is going to say that they shot it down. Why wouldn't they take the opportunity to have propaganda, right? But regardless of the reason it went down, we don't leave troops anywhere. And so if Trump was looking for a reason to go boots on ground, we have currently recovered one. The other one is not yet recovered. If you need a reason to go boots on ground, there you go. So this could very easily turn that into that boots on ground reason. There's also some stuff going on with them talking about, and we've started the IPB process. For those who don't know what IPB is, it's intelligence preparation of the battlefield. And it is what we do before we go boots on ground. How this works, bunch of intel guys build out a map. They build all the overlays. The first thing that they do is they start to take out logistics lines. That would be bridges, roads, aircraft, or airfields, trains, railroads, so on and so forth. What do we do next? We take out energy. We take out power plants. We start to shut down their ability to manufacture, their ability to run their computers, radars, so on and so forth. We just heard last night that President Trump said the U.S. will begin targeting Iran's bridges and then their power plants. Guys, that is step 1 and 2 of the operational push into areas according to doctrine and intelligence preparation of the battlefield. So I really do think that we are just 7 days away, if not less, on boots on ground. And now there's a reason for it with all of this going on with the pilot that is still missing there. By the way, if you're wondering,
let me just say this really quickly, Piper, because I think that we can go split screen now. I think that this lays the groundwork, and this is a great segment into us talking about April. Right, we got some things lined up in April. Of course, with this war, this is a bearish stance right now that we have going into the weekend, in my opinion. So people should really be either flat, be neutral, or think about having some hedges to the downside. That's what I'm doing. Right,
well, the next two things quickly. These will tell you should be bearish. If we go troops on ground, 80 to 100 days since World War II has been negative for the markets. That's what this entire chart is. 80 to 200 days, but at least 80 days on most conflicts have seen downside on the S&P since World War II. Okay, there's the first one. Second one, midterm years that have had a negative Q1 have only seen a positive Q2 27% of the time throughout history since 1950. So there you go. And we just closed a negative Q1 in a midterm year. So 27% chance that we have a green Q2. And if we have boots on ground, likely 80 days at least for the next 2 months of downside move. So that's it. That's all I got for you.
Let's go split screen and talk about later in this month, man. We have FOMC, do we not? Don't we have another FOMC this month?
We do. April, we have it in April. It's going to be April 29th, April 29th. And as of right now, there's no chance of a rate cut. Matter of fact, if we look at December 9th, we only have a 19.5% chance of a rate cut by December of this year. That's it. We actually have an 11% chance of a rate hike by December.
That is another reason for us. I'm almost convinced we might go rate hike. The 10-year is pushing, man. It's ready to burst and go higher than 5%. Is that the 10-year that's at 5%? So it's a couple of things, in my opinion, Piper, that is positioning us for, as you stated, with boots on the ground, the history with that. But even if you don't go from that perspective, the military geopolitical stance, even from just a market structure standpoint, fundamentally, I think we are setting up for another leg down.
Yeah, absolutely. And I've said that on the show too. I was like, because people are like, look, Trump could end this whole war tomorrow. I said, and it changes what? Nothing. We still have the same thing going on with inflation. Inflation was still rising before the oil added to it. We still have the same thing going on with the contracting of the pillars of retail, of manufacturing, of of the service industry, of travel and leisure. Like, this was all going on before Iran. So nothing's changed there. To say once Iran's over, we're back on and pour the champagne, let's party. Like, we were already sitting in hot water before all of this. So yeah, you're absolutely right on that, man.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a moment. I want to give, since this is WEEXLY news wrap, I do want to bring some attention to, and you guys might have seen it at the beginning, but we've got some great upgrades over at WEEX, and if we can bring the slide up, I can tell you guys a little bit about it, and then we'll play the video again. So this week in the upgrades for WEEXLY, we have, let's bring the slide up for us, please. Let's see here. All right, product updates for this week. We have the H5 browser trading. Trade spot and futures instantly without downloading the app. We have an OpenAI infrastructure, OpenAPI infrastructure supporting automated trading. This is right up Crypto Blood's alley, baby. I'm a quant trader, so I'm loving this. It supports automated trading, strategy, execution, and developer integrations up to 60% revenue share, and AI trader skills, natural language trading via AI assistants like Claude, Code, Codex, and OpenClaw. So let's go ahead and queue up that video for the H5 browser.
Wherever I go, I'm on home turf. WEEX mobile browsers. No download. Just trading. Storage for memories. Freedom for trades. WEEX mobile browsers. No download. Just trading. Weak signal. Strong trade. WEEX mobile browsers. No download. Just trading.
All right, guys, definitely look into that. Now we're going to just kind of starting to wrap up today's live stream. Hit that like button if you guys haven't already. We appreciate you, and definitely come join me, over at WEEX, ladies and gents. Scan that QR code, sign up today, use code VIP code XC9Z. We've got a lot of great perks for you, so definitely sign up using that QR code right now. So Piper, man, let's see if anyone has any questions for us in the chat room. I'm looking at the chat now. Drop any comments or questions you guys might have today, and we'll definitely try to answer those at this point. So any last words, Army Piper, as we kind of curate some of those questions?
Yeah, I think that what people need to understand is that, it's not too late. Like, I know a lot of people. Shout out to Dano Crypto. If you guys don't know Dano, good guy. He's responded to my comment about why they call us dumb money, right? We're not smart money because we do round trip. We do get stuck in hopium because we follow the wrong lead or whatever. It happens. It doesn't mean that we can't catch the next opportunity. These are cycles, right? Nothing's ever gone down forever, right? It's just, I don't like being caught. There was a time that Walmart and GM were the #1 stocks in the country, right? So I just don't want to be caught in the next thing that's not the top anymore. And so that's why I usually take profit. But it doesn't mean that because you missed the top that you're not going to catch the big opportunity that comes. And I do think that is what is coming later on, into quarter three, going into quarter four this year for stocks and for crypto, because it's lining up with where crypto normally finds its bottom 1 year from the top. And it's also where stocks typically find their rally point end of quarter three of a midterm cycle year. So I think just be ready for that opportunity. And if you guys are prepared for it, don't be scared, be prepared. It's going to be where we can all find a great launch point for this next cycle. And we can really move and groove and do our thing. So just be ready for it.
Great. So I don't see any questions so far. So Piper, I appreciate. Let the people know where they can follow you on today's episode.
Yep. I do my show every morning, 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday, on Piper Academy on YouTube. I'm also under Army Piper on X, and they're dropping news, charts, headlines. If you like this type of stuff I do, that I did today, this is what I do pretty much every day on what you guys need to know for market bias and where are we going next, which way are we heading. So appreciate it.
Great, man. Appreciate you coming on, Army Piper. Round of applause for Army Piper. Attention. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. All right, guys. So it's been first episode of Weekly News Wrap. I really appreciate each and every one of you coming on today. Let's see here. Yeah, again, sign up over at WEEX, guys, with Crypto Blood, VIP code XC9Z. Greatly appreciate our special guest this week. Again, this is episode 1, so we're getting the kinks out. Let us know how you liked this episode, the alpha that was brought. Hopefully it was helpful for you. Just to recap, again, we're going into a week of potential boots on the ground in Iran. And that will spell more uncertainty for the markets. Crypto, commodities, oil, even possibly precious metals, and of course equities. So this is potentially going to be a volatile weekend. So you definitely want to be prepared going into the weekend. Either be flat. That's what I would suggest, being flat if you're not going to be able to really take advantage of these very volatile positions. Now, you guys know, if you don't know, over on Crypto Bloodstream, we do it live, baby. We do it live, meaning when I say we do it live, we trade live, all right? So we have always traded live on our accounts. This is our WEEX account that we're trading right now. We've got a couple of trades open. We're long currently on Ethereum, Bitcoin, but short on Zcash. Really can't see Zcash at the bottom there. I can move it over a bit so you guys can see that. We are in the green on all 3 trades right now. We did take profits on those Zcash shorts. We did take a little profit there. We took a little profit off of our Bitcoin long, and we're still riding with no take profits on Ethereum at this point. I'm a firm believer of taking profits in your trades. And this is kind of visual where we have going on right now with our Bitcoin long. There's a little flopping and groping going on earlier in the session. Going back and forth a little bit. I think we finally got a good signal. So we're long both Bitcoin and Ethereum right now in today's session. And we'll monitor this because I think at some point, we'll close. I'll go flat on these 3 trades at the end of the session today. Very low liquidity. Again, US session is not open right now, but I'm looking for a rollover and rejection of this zone. Now we may peak above it a little bit, but I think there's going to be another rollover over the weekend, especially if boots do go to the ground over in Iran. We're going to see potential leg down towards the $63,000 Bitcoin range. So just look out for that. Follow me on X at CryptoBlood_. and on YouTube at Crypto Bloodlytics, baby. All right, that's it for today. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Episode 1 of Weekly News Wrap. I will check you guys next week. We're out of here. Peace.
Get out! I'm busy!
Go play with your dog. I'll watch the market.
Fine! Can you buy BTC at 70,000?
Standing by.
Wait, no!
Don't scold him. 2,000 USDT secured. Buy your dog a robot.
Just trading.